Fox 10 Gulfstream. This is Next Weather.
All right, here's what we're tracking with our headlines across the Gulf Coast region, and we've got a few evening thunder showers around, but most of those are pushing out over the Gulf. It's going to be a quiet night tonight, and the theme here, lower rain chances. Not a zero chance, but lower chances tomorrow and on into the weekend. Looking ahead, drier and hotter conditions will return in the forecast. All right, looking at what's going on in the Caribbean Sea and in the Atlantic, we've got some tropical storms out there. It almost never happens in the Atlantic and in the Caribbean Sea this time of the year, but we don't expect either one of these two to impact us. We've got Brett right here, just had a recent burst of convection near the center, so it's still hanging in there, but it's being sheared by upper level winds, which will tear it apart ultimately. And Cindy may be getting a little better organized. So Brett right now, 50-mile-per-hour winds, a mid-grade tropical storm. It's moving west at 21, and the track takes this one further to the west, and then it starts to weaken and fall apart late Saturday night. So Brett, not going to be a problem for the Gulf of Mexico. Cindy, a 50-mile-per-hour tropical storm, may be strengthening a little before it gets weaker. It's moving west-northwest at 16, and it looks like an open water system here. We don't see it coming near the United States or the islands even, and even into next week starts to fall apart, becomes a tropical depression through Tuesday. So looking at both scenarios, models take the remnants of Cindy up towards Bermuda and the remnants, if there are any left, of Brett over towards Central America. Neither system showing a scenario that would get it into the Gulf based on the current forecast, and that's the way we like it. Here is your day planner tomorrow. Temperatures starting out in the upper 70s early, up near 90 by the afternoon. We will see a few isolated showers and storms. Rain chance at 20%, high of 91 Saturday, 30% chance of rain Sunday, and a high of 92. The heat starts building next week, and that may be more of an issue for us next week. I'll have a complete breakdown on the heat coming up right after this. Plus, people living along Bellingrath Road aren't happy about flooding in the area. They want answers and help. That story is next.
Can I play? Sure, but you need to bring your own truck. That's not a problem.
The Fox 10 Storm Tracker Fleet, taking you live to more places, covering the Gulf Coast like no one else can. Unrivaled experience, unparalleled severe weather coverage.
I think I need a bigger sandbox.
Well, people here in Mobile County still cleaning up from recent flooding, and some residents here off of Bellingrath Road are being inundated with flooding, and the drainage system just not working properly there, and that's part of the potential reason it could be expensive to fix these houses. Our Ashlyn Mitchell talked to folks who want something done.
Laverne Walker has spent the whole week drying out his home on Clyde Road after Monday's downpour turned his street into a waterway. He just moved to the area from the bayou.
But I didn't figure they would flood right here, you know, thinking it would drain good and never have a problem, and then wake up to a nightmare. You couldn't see the grass in the backyard. I've never seen this much rain. You would think it was a hurricane.
At the height of the storm, Walker says there were 6 to 8 inches of water in his house. He believes the problem was caused by the drains along Clyde Drive, which he says are often clogged and neglected.
I was just blown away. The ditches were backed up, and it wouldn't. I could look down about probably about maybe 3 houses, and they didn't have the buildup like we had down here. Same thing for down there. But I mean, down here in the roads, I bet it was every bit a foot or more.
Commissioner Randall Dewitt says Monday's amount of rain was rare and that the ditches are sufficient and maintained.
I want the people of the area that was affected by Monday's flooding to understand that I do sympathize and I understand what they're going through. But I also want to explain that what happened Monday is a rare event. I think we had, according to EMA, between 11 and 13 inches of rain in a 6-hour period. So what ultimately happens when you get that much rain and a flash flood, our ditches have nowhere to drain because they drain to the river, which is out of its banks.
But Deanna Pruitt, who lives next door to Walker, isn't so sure.
I understand it was a lot of rain, but in my opinion, it's not any more rain than what we've ever gotten any given summer. We live in Mobile. It rains. Our ditches need to be properly maintained to fix that or to control the issue.
Like Walker, Pruitt is trying to clean up the mess left behind from the flooding. She says flooding is a constant problem in the area.
And this is a problem that we deal with every time it rains. Now, it's not that it gets in our homes every time it rains, but the ditches flood every time it rains.
Ashlyn Mitchell, Fox 10 News.
All right, let's look at a change in that weather pattern that may help some folks out. Some heat is building, and lately, today, it wasn't too bad. We were up near an average temperature, 92, a little above average in Mobile, but Brookley Field at 88. We're about to see a heat wave building in. Let's look at the upper level pattern, and if you've been following the weather at all this week, Texas has been dealing with some searing heat. We've seen air temperatures above 100 with heat index values in places like Corpus Christi, Texas this week. The feels like temperature over 120 degrees, 122 heat index is a crazy number. And that heat ridge is going to build in our direction. Now, it may not be quite as amplified here, but you see it coming midweek. The upper ridge may break down slightly through Friday, but it looks like we're going to get at least a piece of this. And so we have heat to deal with. So we're about to wave goodbye to numbers like this that we see in the forecast for tomorrow. Highs around 90 degrees. Next week it gets hot, and we'll break that down in your extended forecast coming up.
New to the Fox 10 weather app, your 24-hour radar forecast. Be the first to see how precipitation is going to affect your plants across the Gulf Coast. Detailed hour by hour. The 24-hour radar forecast on the Fox 10 weather app. Plus the latest breaking news with the Fox 10 News app.
Got him, bro.
Stay alert with Fox 10. Prime time is Fox 10 time.
The latest on the night's top stories are first on Fox 10 News at 9.
Wrap up your day, informed and ready for the morning.
All right, long range, we talked about that heat wave, and here it comes next week. We're going to get up in the middle 90s, it appears, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The peak of the heat wave looks like it wants to be here on Thursday, so plan accordingly. We'll have to be more hydrated next week and take some breaks. If you're working outside, find some shade and cool off. That's our extended forecast. Lower rain chances next week, but plenty of heat for the Gulf Coast. Thanks for joining us here on Next Weather.